Hello everyone. So today we're playing some Final Fantasy XIV rather than Overwatch. No stress Saturday. It is Saturday, January 27th. Trying to get the game to come up here. There we go. So, like I said, January 27th, 2018. No stress, it's like 12:30. I got about an hour and a half until Overwatch League comes up. So I won't keep anybody longer than that. In the meantime, we're going to do some Conjurer leveling. So let's get in the game here. So while it's loading, for those that don't know, Final Fantasy XIV is it's an MMORPG. So it's for those that have ever played WoW. It's like I did for 10 years. It's actually not all that different. What you end up with is it's similar in that you have your class, you have your race, all those other things. At this point, the races don't really make too much of a difference. But at the same time, I like it because you get that, unlike WoW where it's kind of, okay, if I really want to go, I need like 9 different classes to play everything. 9 different characters, plenty of ults, whatever. So instead of this one, you actually end up, you can play every class, every profession, all on one character. It's great. It's mostly stress-free until you get to the higher stuff. So right now I'm Conjurer. The way it starts out is, oh, I need to mend some stuff. Hold on a second here. Okay. Yes, so the way it works is you pick one of 5 base classes to start out. And when you get to 30, every so many levels you get a quest for your class. And once you get to 30, you get a class, or you get a quest that gives you a soul gem, and the soul gem turns your class into a job. Might be the other way around. Anyway, so Conjurer is the white mage, healer, priest in different games. Took some significant damage last time, so I'm gonna go ahead and prepare everything up here real quick. And where I'm at right now is the Ganderville. It's a casino. It's the same as in any other Final Fantasy game. It's a place to go and play some mini games, have some fun. There's chocobo racing. There's minions, which all those vanity pets you would get in another game, they would get put to use here. I know WoW eventually did the battling that was basically turned it into Pokemon. This, you take your minions and actually basically play an RTS with it. We're not doing that today though. So we're just gonna do some leveling cues. Because we're Conjurers, it's gonna go pretty quick. Not much to the queue there. DPS runs somewhere between 10 and 15 minute wait, depending on what you're doing, or what level you are, and how many people are on. So we're just getting a random dungeon. We'll find out what happens. Alright, looks like we're in Thanolin. Copperbell Mines. So the thing about healers in 14 is that you actually, you're expected DPS too. Which, it's not so bad at lower levels. I haven't played a high level healer yet, so I couldn't tell you one way or another how hard that is. I have access to a couple more things because I actually leveled out Summoner first. Summoner / Scholar. It starts as Arcanist. But I have that level capped at 70 now. Might do that eventually, just not today. For the most part, as long as people are paying attention, the most you have to worry about in early levels at least is just keeping the tank healed. Other than that, you don't really have to worry about anything else. Doing some damage. It's fun, I like it. So even though I've leveled this character 70 in one class, I still haven't quite figured out what all the symbols are. So this is me that Conjurer gets this little branch. It's a wand. But the idea of the Conjurer is that they are using the power of the elements to heal. So your class quests and stuff are talking about like nature and whatever. Oh, I gained a level. So the random dungeon system, that's something that is a little different when you queue up for a dungeon roulette and you're just leveling. You can actually get pretty much anything to start out. So what happens is the game actually puts a level cap, where you can see down here, on yourself. So for example, in this one, the cap is 20. So I think the cap's at 20. I might be at 20. Yeah, I'm at level 20. Cap might be a little higher. What you'll notice is it'll put you in something that's relatively appropriate for what you're leveling. It might be a little above or a little below, but it'll still change your stats accordingly, essentially. But yeah, as far as the symbols, the Conjurer, this is a Dark Knight. That's our tank. I believe those three things are Rogue, and of course the bow's the Archer. Well, let's see here. Classic jobs. Dark Knight, Scholar, Astrology. Might be Monk. Oh yes, probably Monk. So of course we want to kill bomb-like things first. I'm using an arrow, tossing out my yes, a little dot. And that should be So the neat part about this is not only do you get the class skills themselves, so you get stuff that's specific to your class, like I have Cure and Arrow and Stone. But then depending on your role, healer, DPS, tank, you get other abilities as you level up. Oh yay! We'll just see here is the roll abilities. Oh, we got a new one when I hit 16. I got a soon at 19. So a lot of the abilities are based off of stuff that we've seen before if you've ever played any Final Fantasy. If you've never played any Final Fantasy, that's basically like learn any other MMO. Things will do different things. You just learn what the names are you expect. The reason we have to clear out these other rooms is that these blasting caps, as you'll see on the middle of the screen, drop these fire stamps. And we need so many fire sands to put in the wall, in the powder chamber, and then blow it up so we can proceed. So it's fun. The dungeons aren't all just tank, expand, kill everything and whatever. There's not a lot of tactics that you have to worry about until later. Now this boss is probably the first time I've ever had to worry about tactics. Because this ooze boss, you can't really kill it. What you have to do is you have to get it close to the blasting cap when the blasting cap comes up. Your tank just holds the aggro. It can't actually hurt anything. So then what will happen is every so often the blasting caps will come up. The blasting caps just have to get close to the ooze, whatever they decide to explode. And then they get smaller. Oh goody. Our tank got the red Pokeball, which means their DC. Looks like a temporary tank, so. Our tank got DC'd in the middle of that fight. So that was fun. That was interesting. I've never had to do that before. cast Protect. He's already healed. The Dark Knight builds up rage and magic. Kind of throw out a cure here and there. Well, so glass shifting. Glass shifting is kind of neat. So essentially what happens is, in order to change your class, you change it as long as you're not in combat. And all you do is change the weapon in your main hand. So each class doesn't get like a list of particular weapons that they can use. It's just kind of, it's either a one-handed or two-handed of whatever that class is. Oh nice, I got both. Now that skip there was a cutscene view. The first time that you run a dungeon, you have to use cutscenes. Story. And, well, as I said before, anyone who's played this game, not necessarily this game, but any game in the Final Fantasy franchise, you know they're really big on story. Big enough, in fact, they just made a change this week, I think, that some of the other roulettes that have to do with the main story, which you get access to after you hit 15 or 60, you can no longer skip the cutscene. So as it currently stands, if you go to view the cutscene, or when it automatically pops up to view the cutscene, you can hit escape and you can just escape out of it. But what can also happen is if there's a setting that if you've already seen a cutscene, you just auto escape. Basically, it does what you just saw here, the screen goes black for a second and then goes right back. Well, the new options for the setting is so that people that are brand new, what ended up happening was your story events, which were essentially raids. Yay! Oh, second level. So now I'm 21. So what ends up happening is that anybody that's running it for the first time, they're not really going to get the story too much. Because if they don't skip the cutscenes, what's going to happen is everybody's going to leave them behind. It happened to me the first time I did it. How do I have mail? Huh. You can see up here I have mail for some reason. So anyway, yeah, so the story ones, what they're doing is they're making it so that they're unskippable, which means that people can actually watch the story and not get left behind. It's cool. I wish they would have implemented it a little earlier. Most people skip them because what they end up doing is they end up doing something like this. So once your level is high enough, you'll get different options, and then your main scenario, your alliance rates, and trials are unlocked at 50 with 50 and 60 dungeons. 50 and 60 dungeons are like vanilla and dungeon. But then, and you unlock leveling at 16. So this main scenario though is the ones where you basically, it's decided that you can't skip it anymore. As well as, I believe it's also the raids, which require 50 and 60 depending on what you're doing. Trials. Now the trials are, what do they call them in these? The old word for them would be espers or aeons. They occasionally refer to them as icons in this one. E-I-K-O-N-S. They're the things that you're used to seeing as summons in the previous games. So like Bowl of Embers, which I have access to right now, is Ifrit. And then the navel is Titan, and Howling Wind is Garuda. Now some of these are important for if you were doing, say, the Summoner class, because the Summoner class, for a lot of their class things, like their class levels, they end up having to actually fight the Aeon before they can actually get the little mini version of it. It's called an Eggy. EGI. So the Eggy, there's 3 different ones, and they do different things, which changes when you hit 30. At first they start out as little carbuncles, up until you hit 30, and then at 30, your Arcanist class turns into 2 different jobs, which is Scholar and Summoner. The Summoner is DPS, the Scholar is a healer. Well, at that point, once you get the Soul Gems, they change into something else. So your carbuncles turn into Eggies as you level up. So the first one you get is you get a new Eggy, which is a melee DPS one, and it looks kind of like Ifrit, but you have to have beaten Ifrit first. Then Scholar, on the other hand, they turn into fairies, and the fairies help you heal. They throw out healing spells and stuff. So now, what I'm doing is, because I have hit 21, I have class quest for Conjurer. So, now, this is New Gridania. It is... oh, I like to think of it as the Elf City. So, the races in the cities are actually very diverse. Like basically any race can be in any city. I just think this is more of an elven city. So every major city has a thing called the Aethernet. The Aethernet, when you first get to a city, you click on the big crystal like this, and then the big crystal can actually go to different places. You can set it as a home point, but then you can also go to all of these other places as you go around the city and click on them. I'll show you one here in a second. We're going to go to the Conjurer's Guild because we have a new quest at 20. We're level 20. So basically, whenever you get to a new city, you click on the big crystal. And then, you click on all these little crystals. And then once you get all the little crystals, you get access everywhere in the city. So I'm at the Conjurer's Guild. It's down in the earth. So basically every guild ends up with somebody, whoever's in charge, that you end up getting. You get quests from up until 30, and then once you get your soul gem, then you become a job, not a class. Summoner, scholar. Then it turns into somebody else. You have to get some, or they send you to somebody that's specialized in what you're doing. So let's talk to Isumiyan. Brother Isumiyan requests that you assist with Sylphie's training. Greetings, Sokard. You radiate the confidence of Conjurer who neglects not his study of the elements. I confess I have no lesson for you to learn this day. Instead, I would ask that you aid in the education of another. Yes, I speak of Sylphie. So Sylphie, leading up to this, she is a girl that refuses to listen to the conjurers, but she heals people at the cost of her own kind of life force. So basically, she gets really tired when she heals someone. And the leader of the guild, this guy, is afraid that she's going to hurt herself, or that she's going to push too hard. After no small amount of prompting, bordering on coercion, the child is finally promised to attempt to embrace the forces of nature, but I'm afraid the matter is not so easily resolved. Sophie is never attempting to learn the basic offensive spells that you and most other conjurers master before venturing into the wild. As such, she is ill-equipped to undertake the trials which furnished you and your peers with an understanding of the elements. Put simply, she is no match for the tainted spirits of nature. But, if a more capable conjurer were to accompany her and purify the corruption in her stead, it may yet serve to impress upon her the power of the forces at work. I bid you take her on the pilgrimage around the 12's Wood and give her the opportunity to witness these confrontations firsthand. Earth, wind, water, she must know them all. Show her the majesty and primal ferocity of nature. As it was with you, let Earth be her first lesson. Sophie awaits you at the Bent Branch Meadows. Pray forgive my presumption, but I thought it best to send her on ahead while her conviction remained strong. Once you've located the patch of corrupted soil at Bent Branch, draw forth the tainted sprite and let her witness the struggle that ensues. May the elementals aid you in this endeavor, Sokar. Quest accepted. So Bent Branch, here, this part's kind of neat. So here's our quest. Now this shows. Here's our map, but here's where we are. We're in Gridania. This is Bent Branch. So each of the zones, like for example, Gridania is the Black Shroud. And then over here you have North Shroud, you have Central Shroud. The Lavender Beds is a residential area. It's where player housing and guild housing is. And then the East Shroud. So now in this case, we're doing Central Shroud. So we're going to go to Bent Branch Meadows. They have to go there first. The first time through in order to go touch the big crystal. These smaller towns only have a large crystal that eventually you can just teleport back to. Oh, here's my chocobo. I think you start the quest with the chocobo at 20 or 30. I want to say it's your first mount. The difference with other mounts, though, is that Chocobo can actually help you out. Like, it can fight with you. Here's Sophie. She's saying something. Oh, I wish you'd come. You are kind to help me. I've done nothing but mock you. Which is true. She doesn't like us. Well, if you're ready, the corrupted soil is just there. I promise I'll be paying attention. Okay, so here's the corrupted soil. We actually did this at, like, level 5. Shield we got is pretty good. Okay, that's it. That's all we need to do. Well, as far as I know. Ah! I wasn't scared, just a little startled, that's all. Oh, that was so sweet. Ah! It was as if a massive solid rat had erupted from the ground. Never felt anything. Never mind. We have to head to Benok next. Let's get this over with. Okay, so I don't know where that is. I don't know what she's talking about. If it's a person? Doesn't sound like a town. So let's see here. So normally, the quest that you're closest to or that you've just been working on, you look here on the map, you see it's like a red outline. Like you can see, these are different quests that can be picked up. I just never did them. So we're just going straight east. With a tree in the way. We're gonna go a little north. So, the Chocobos do normally start out yellow. Normal Chocobo yellow. You can buy plants and feed them plants while you have them in a stable and change their color. So in this case, Artax, my Chocobo. Bonus points for anybody that knows that reference. So Artax is like a violet because, well, purple's my favorite color, so. Okay, now we're doing a Wind Spirit. So now we ourselves had to do this at like 5, 10, and 15. So we're basically just refighting spirits that we had to fight before. Gods! The wind blew straight through me and felt both gentle and sharp at the same time. I can't explain. Is this something you can conjure? Let's be on our way. The last one is at Lilystone. This is going to be the water spirit. Lilystone. Where is that? Oh, right. Okay, down there. If you click on the quest, it will actually, or click on the text for the quest, not the quest name, it will show it to you on the map. Even if it's on a different map, it'll still show it to you. To admit, I haven't spent a lot of time in the Black Shroud, so I don't know my way around as well. Black Shroud's a big forested area. Then you have Thanalan, which is a desert, and Linoskia is a plains, mountains, seaside cliffs, that kind of thing. So what we're going to run into here is there's actually, you can see this on the map. Let's bring up the other map. This is what we call what's called a trial. And we're too high level for it, so we're going to skip right by it. But normally, these trials, they just show up all over randomly the map. They have levels that are based on the area. So over here, this one's higher because Sorrel Haven here, there's a log that you go up, and it's basically on a plateau. Up top of that plateau, there is it's higher level. It's around 30s. But down here, you get 10, 11, 8, because it's one of the starting areas. So the trials, when you complete the trials, you have the option of, if you walk into it, you can level sync, which will take you down to the level. And you just do whatever it tells you to do. A lot of times it's just killing things until the bar fills up. And then once the bar fills up, you're good to go. You get a reward, you get a lot of extra rewards. Some events based off of doing things for the fate. With these different fates in different areas. We're not worried about that. We're just going to come here. Get our corrupted water going. And attack the corrupted water. And your Chocobo companion is on a timer. Basically, you need Grishel Runes in order to summon him. So it becomes on a half-hour it becomes on a half-hour timer. But as it levels, you can click here on your mount. Nope, not mount. Try again. Companion under player, and you get different buttons that you can give it. So, like, if you're fighting something that I don't want it to fight anymore, I can tell it to withdraw. I like to just give it free stance. And there's a mount and dismount for your Chocobo, your company Chocobo itself. And there's a tree, a talent tree. Now I have mine at 6. See, he's level 6, and I have going straight down the DPS tree because I was leveling him with Summoner, and the Titan Eggy, once you get it, is a tanking companion. So basically, I'd send in the tanking companion, and then me and the Chocobo would just unleash on whatever it was. It made a lot of things really easy. Oh, now that was all 3 corrupted spirits, so now we just go back to Isubian. So there is a spell that will let you go to your home point, but you can also just teleport to any of the large crystals at any time. Well, as long as you're not in combat. And it just costs skill. So, money. I'm running there to show you the difference. So Gridania is actually split into 2 different sections. There's New Gridania, which is where the giant crystal is, and then there's Old Gridania. So when we teleported earlier to the Conjurer's Guild, this is where it put us. It actually put us right over there, where that person's standing. So this is Sprint. Sprint is your best friend until 20. 20 is when you get your first mount. That's your Chocobo. You get that through a grand company. It's part of the main story. Basically, you have to be not just level 20, but you have to have progressed the main story quest line up to 20. Welcome back, my avid conjurers. How fared you in your encounter with the elements? Sophie, what did you sense as Silkar sense sources of corruption? It was hard to explain. It was like hearing voices crying out in joy. And I felt their happiness wash over me. The world seemed sharper, more alive. It was almost as if nature was speaking to me. But why, brother Isumi? Why did my mother teach me to avoid this side of conjuring? What was she so afraid of? There are certain truths that hide behind the mask of our words, and there is much that your mother didn't tell you, but you needn't seek all the answers at once, Sylvan. Even now, your mind founders amid a sudden inundation of awareness. The first time we connect with nature can be a wonderful but disorienting experience. I suggest you allow yourself some time to adjust to this new perspective. Yes, Guildmaster. Hi. You have my gratitude, Sokar. Thanks to you, Sophie has taken an important step. You heard her mention voices crying out in joy, did you not? It appears the mother's gift has been passed on to the daughter. Such sensitivity is not something one can achieve through meditation and training, but a blessing that only a few fortunate chosen receive. And, as you have no doubt surmised, Sophie's mother was one such person. Basically, nature spirits talked to her. The misunderstanding of that blessing, however, was what led her down such a tragic path. We cannot allow Sophie's astonishing talents to consume her in the same manner. But we mustn't get ahead of ourselves. The girl has barely awoken to her potential. And for that potential to be fully realized, your support is yet needed. I suspect you failed to mention the promise of your involvement in her lessons was the reason for her change of heart. You underestimate the impression of your quiet determination that is made on young Sophie. If modesty prevents you from acknowledging your own good deeds, consider the task part of your training. For conjurers are healers of wounds, be they physical or otherwise. Walk with her on her journey, Sokar, and together explore the myriad mysteries of nature. Alright, so we finished class. Now we get a Elm Crook, which is a two-handed conjurer's weapon. And now we have to pick one of these out of the options. And then the gloves aren't bad. Mask is a little better than what I got. So we're gonna pick the mask. So then should pop up oh, it's not going to pop up. So normally what would end up happening is it pop up with this red quest symbol over their head. Kind of like this. That has your next quest level. So in this case, my next quest is at 25. They spread out earlier. Usually it's like every 5 levels, but sometimes early in the beginning it's less. So let's get to our rewards. Let's look. So we just got that Elm Crook. You have a regular inventory, which holds all your normal stuff. And then you have your armory inventory. Your armory inventory has all of your weapons, armor, different slots, everything. Ours is actually getting kind of full. So if I look, here's an Ash Wand, that's one-handed conjurer's arm. Here's the Elm Crook. So currently we have Vitality 2, Crit Hit 2, Piety 1, Mind 2, Spell Speed. So as a conjurer, we're looking for, as far as I know, Piety. Increases our healing. Intelligence will increase your damage of spells. Mind increases like I believe it's your regen rate. Vitality is Constitution, it's more hit points. Critical hit and critical hit's critical hit. If you've ever played an MMO before, it's how often you're going to get critical. Or in this case, it's not chance of critical, it's when you do hit a critical. It's how much extra damage it does. Now, spell speed is one of those things. You have spell speed and skill speed. Spell speed is like haste, so it determines how faster you can cast. So in this case, what we're looking at is our Crook does Vitality 3, Mind 3, Determination 2, no Piety. Their Piety 1. So it's little Vitality and Determination. Determination, I don't have to worry about it too much. It's like defense for tanks. But what ends up happening is, because this is a two-handed Conjurer's arm, we'd also have to lose the shield. And the shield has Mind, Intelligence, Determination, Vitality, and Direct Hit Rate. Direct Hit Rate is like armor penetration in other games. It skips armor and goes straight at hit. So in this case, what we're running into is it's not as good because we have this pink weapon that I picked up from a dungeon earlier. It's not as good to swap out the 2 for the 1. So we're going to leave it as we're going to go sell it. It's not green, so we're going to go sell it. So what I was looking at earlier is here's your symbols and your different classes. Now they update whenever you get your soul gems. So right now I have a couple soul gems. I have Black Mage, which starts out as Thaumaturge. The higher ones don't show until you actually get them. Now I have a couple of them because as you level, you'll get classes that were put in expansions of Heaven's Ward and the current one, Stormblood. They added new classes, so some of them you just start at that class and they start at 30 or 50. So Machinist started at what was it? Machinist, Astrologian, and Dark Knight were Heaven's Word. You can pick those up when you get to Heaven's Word, which is at 60, and you can progress the story that far. You can actually pick them up, but you can't pick them up until you actually go to the area for Heaven's Word. However, the 2 that were added more recently with Stormblood, Stormblood, Red Mage and Samurai, are actually in the city of Ul'dah, which is the capital in the desert. And as soon as you hit 50, you can just go grab them. So basically it's just unlocking the quests, and then just a matter of unlocking the classes, then deciding if you want to actually pursue down them or when you want to pursue down them. However, as you saw, my armory chest is getting a little high, or a little full. So I need to go. Well, there's a mender right here. I need to go over to the shops. The game's very pretty. It's nighttime. So here's an amphitheater. Leather workers over there. This is where we're going. Those are the little shops. Now, quick note on the colors behind these things. So some of the dungeon stuff is green, some of it's purple, or some of it's pink. There are a couple different options you can do with stuff like that. Oh, this is the mask we got earlier. So we're just going to equip that. Now I currently have it set so that my headgear doesn't display. If I were to display it, we'll see that in the next cutscene. So these are all sellers. We'll just pick it to anyone. Open armory chest. So now we know this is useless because it's my old one. We just determined that we don't really need this. This is also an old. Now these are all gray, so for the most part, we're not going to bother with them. The gray stuff, it's just worthwhile to sell it. Just sell it for gil. Technically, you can summon on the auction house market board. So side note, you can't. The auction house in this game isn't exactly like other games. You don't just walk up to it and put stuff on the board. You have these things later that are called retainers, and the retainer goes and does stuff for you. They also take the place of a bank. So they have an inventory that's actually larger than yours. And without using any regular money, you can have up to 2 retainers. You just have to request for them. And you name them and tell them what you want them to look like when you first get them and things like that. Why is she not wearing pants? Oh, because they're white. Okay. So your retainer can get a classing level. When you send them out on adventures, and then they do stuff, they get XP. Sign venture, field venture. There's nothing I really need specifically, so we're just gonna send her out to go get stuff. In the meantime, let's sell items from my inventory because I'm getting kind of high on stuff. So this is at an automatic price. You're gonna up it down. I usually sell it for whatever it wants to sell for. Depending on what it is. Now I have a lot of materia because I don't use it as much. Because I started with... Basically I only started playing a couple months ago. So, because I only started playing this a couple months ago, I got the vanilla version as well as the 2 expansions right away. So I felt like I was playing a lot of catch up because I was catching up to 70. So since I was catching up to 70, I didn't want to use a lot of materia, so now I have a whole lot of extra leftover. Let's get rid of some shirts here. Casting, healing. I might need the healing ones. So when you're looking at your equipment, your pieces of equipment, you can see down here towards the bottom, Those green circles and materia slots. But then underneath that, you have like condition, you know, you need to repair it or not. And there's this thing called Spirit Bond. So Spirit Bond, once you get to 100, after you unlock the option for materia, you get an option called Convert. So Convert will just... Oh. I can't do that when I'm talking to somebody. So in this case, where'd it go? Oh, it's grayed out because I can't use it, so let me find it again. Here, Living Cow. So it requires level 37, but because it's a cow, you can't wear a piece on your head for it. Essentially, it's a two slot thing. Takes up your body and your head at the same time. Well, that's not really going to work for us, so we're going to go ahead and get rid of it, especially by that level. I never wear anything that's like that. We're just going to convert it. So we got a Piety 2. That's actually what I wanted to give my retainer. One of my retainers. So my retainers, they can learn different. They can only have one class at a time. So what I end up doing is I have one of them as Gatherer and one of them as like a regular class. But some of this stuff is essentially it doesn't really have anything useful. It doesn't have any useful stats. It's just glamoury stuff. Yeah, no stats, it just looks like something. I've done a couple of those. Just looking here. Oh, it's Toji. Right? Yeah. Adventurer's jacket. The Alpine coat. Teku. I just got these and it looks like they're better than what I have. So we're gonna equip these. Werewolf arms. I'm gonna keep those. Belt. I did. Werewolf tail. Sign Adventurer's bottoms. Make werewolf feet. The wrist and stuff we're not going to need. Oh, let me get rid of this. This is the yokai watch. I was in a bed. So we're going to get rid of that. Okay. So whenever you change gear, for example, we just put on those new gloves and a new face, you have different gear sets. This is the faster way to change your classes, is every time you have a class, you load up whatever gear you're going to put on it. And then you hit this update gear set. So like right now I'm on Conjurer. So if I wanted to pop up something like my Gladiator, which isn't a Paladin yet, I would put a Gladiator arm in here, so it's a sword. And then put in Disciple of War gear, because your gear is basically, instead of cloth, leather, plate, it's split into Disciple of War and Disciple of Magic. So then, whenever you have a new one, you can either ask it, for your recommended gear, which sometimes works, sometimes doesn't. It gets a little hazy when you're talking about like stuff that takes up more than one slot. But then you have a create new gear set. So every time you unlock a new class, you get at least one gear set, and you get, I think, 5 to begin with. So you end up with more sets than gear. So that's why a lot of people have like the gear for looks later. It isn't actually meant for battle or whatever. But then anytime you change it, you can just, this button will update or highlight, and you can just hit that. So, we did our class quests. I'm going to go back to do roulette, leveling, as Conjurer, instant queue. Maybe we'll get a different dungeon. I'm hoping to get a different dungeon. Light party is dungeon. Full party becomes like a raid. Oh, goodies, Sasha. This dungeon, if you're leveling anything, you might as well get used to it. You're going to see it a lot. Especially at lower levels. Part of that is because people are leveling through lower levels, so they need basically like fill. Alright, so looks like we got a Paladin. Not sure she's a Paladin yet. Do I have that? Nope, I don't have that yet. So she must be Paladin. Paladin starts as Gladiator, which is the cross swords you see up here. And then at 30, they get their soul gem and they become Paladin. This is Black Mage. Black Mage has a neat, like, magic component, like the way their magic works. They start out with, they cast fire spells. Basically, they get a bonus depending on what kind of spell they've been casting. Whether they have fire aspects or ice aspects. So you see this little orb that's going around him. They also get lightning, of course. But then what happens is, as they're casting fire spells, they do more damage. But the magic costs more. The spell costs more. And then when they start running out of mana, they flip over and get ice. And they start casting ice spells. The ice spells don't do as much damage, but they don't cost as much mana, and in the meantime, they get a mana regen. So their mana bar constantly goes up and down. There, you can see that. ice aspect. Clams are invulnerable when they're closed. What? What? Where'd I get? Alright, level 22. These little shade seekers, the giant clams will spawn more of them. Oh, like any other game, don't stand in the red stuff. Except in this game it's yellow, so... Clear away paralysis. I really like playing a healer in this. It's kind of fun. So there's just light bonus. That stuff that's green or blue or orange or pink. Not orange. Pink. After 20, you get a... You become part of a grand company. It's like a guild that's not player-based. It's completely story-based. So, you get an extra currency. It's the seals. And that extra gear, if you don't need it, because it's not hard to get new pieces of gear, you can turn that in for seals, and then the seals you can use to buy other stuff. Your brass knives for rogue. Oh yeah, rogue you can't get till 10. You can't get to level 10. It's weird. It's a base class. It eventually becomes ninja. But you can't actually get it until 10. I'm assuming that means it didn't start in the game. Originally my understanding was that when this game was in vanilla, after it was a Realm Reborn, because before that it was a failure, but after it was a Realm Reborn, you had to level like 2 different classes in order to get your job at 30. So like basically, if you wanted to be a paladin, you were leveling both Conjurer and Gladiator up to 30 before you could be paladin. They took that away with Stormblood, so you don't have to do that. Stormblood I think was July of last year, of 2017. Yeah, I rolled on that. Cool. Somebody else didn't roll on it. That's why it's taking so long. It's lottery day. So the casino where I started out, there's a giant jackpot board. And you can essentially buy lottery tickets. And the lottery is every Saturday night at 10 p.m. Eastern time in the US. I don't know if it's local time or if it's just Eastern time. I'm pretty sure it's just Eastern time. And it just changes depending on where you are. In my case, I'm used to that time because 10 or 11 is also when Powerball drawings are for real life lottery in several states. It's at 10 or 11 our Eastern time. So we're fighting Captain Madison and his hunch, and in this case, unlike before, most of the way through, he tosses out some dogs. And he's running away. That is a melee shield, so just read on it, not need on it. Basically anything that has blind on it, I can safely hit. When we first pool in combat. Because that means my paladin has run in and hit it already with that. Something's soulbound. That's where the cutscene would be. As you can see, you can tell when somebody's watching the cutscene. She just skipped it. So, Den the Orcatooth. At some point this was probably difficult. So essentially the way this fight works is there's bubbles that form on some of these platforms. If you don't get the bubbles in time, it spawns enemies. Well, I'm sure we'll see it here in a minute. Yeah, like that. As our pal is saying, at this point, we just basically burn the boss. That's it. So this is a neat thing I like, the player combinations. So player combinations at the end of every dungeon, you get an option to commend the other players that were with you, and you just pick one, and you pick one, you hit OK. So there's bonuses to that too, and it tells you at the end whether you got. Apparently, nobody decided they wanted to commend me, which is fine. There's achievements for them. So you have a whole list of achievements like any other game. There's one for combinations. So you get stuff based off of combs. I thought I already got that one. Oh yeah, I'm at 77. So the combinations, as you help people out, they give you combinations, and eventually you just keep getting more stuff. So like the first one you get for 50 is this princely hatchling. It's a minion or vanity pet. You can use it for minions. You can just have it walk around with you. At 100 you get the Partesian's crown. It's a cosmetic item. It has some stats, but it's a cosmetic item. At 300 you get Sovereign Barding. The different bardings are things that you can add to your chocobo. For example, if we go here under Companion, go under Appearance. Right now, Artax has the Barding of Light for everything, but I have different options of stuff I picked up. You'll start out with a saddle of basically the saddle pieces of whatever your grand company is, and then you can, those seals that I was talking about earlier that you could turn stuff in for, and you can also turn in stuff that you've made. Actually, you know what, let's just go over there and I'll show you. So it's based on a city. In my case, I took the Flames, who were based out of Ul'dah. So it's right around the corner here. So this is my base, or this is the Hall of Flames. So what you do is you come up here, you talk to this Flame Personnel Officer, and undertake supply and provision missions. So now all these are things that could be made by your profession classes, and they're all close to, they will change based off of the level that your individual profession class is. So like if I'm 5 in, you know, leatherworking, but I'm 10 in blacksmithing, well, whatever pops up for me that would be based off of leatherworking, or that's created by leatherworking, it's going to be closer to level 5, and blacksmithing would be 10 or 20 or whatever. Then your provisioning is stuff that you can gather. Well, it's gathering stuff, whether that's fishing, ingredients, botany, mining. Yeah, fishing, botany, mining. And then you have expert delivery. Now this is where all those green and pink and blue things I was talking about show up. Now we don't need this. This is for Black Mage Thaumaturge, but it's not as good as what I have. So we're going to turn it in, we get seals. In this case it's flame seals because we're part of the Eternal Flames. Now this shows my flame seals up here. I'm actually looking for... Oh, yeah, side note, whenever you do these provisioning or supply ones, when you turn it in, you get an amount of XP and it counts towards that profession class. Normally, when you turn something in, it's based off of the class of whatever you're currently in. So if I would go do like a level 1 class, and then switch over to, or like if I do go do a level 1 quest and then go switch over to like a level 5 class. I'm still only getting the same amount of XP. It's just it's gonna be whatever I completed or turned in the quest with. Now, of course, some of them have requirements. So if you pick out like a level 60 quest and you do it under a level 60 class and then try to turn it in with a level 10 class, it's not going to work. It's just not going to let you turn it in. The other way, though, is different. So if I was turned into my summoner at 70, or my scholar at 70, and picked out like a level 15 quest, and then completed it, went to go turn it in, and switched over to, say, my Conjurer, which is now 22, that'd be fine. So you can complete it as whatever. At least some of them. Some of them not so much. Or like some of them have requirements on them. But I see it is shortly after 2, so we're going to stop streaming for today. Hope, maybe you, after seeing a little bit of this, maybe you want to play it. It's a good game. I really like it. Like I said, I've been playing it 3 or 4 months. But I know it's Overwatch League, so I'm going to turn that on. And everyone have a great day. I will see you tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be lottery day. That casino lottery I was talking about earlier tonight. And probably more leveling. Maybe some more basics. Alright. Everybody have a good day, and I will see you next time.